This is the sluggo, slant and go.
Oh, Casey the Beef Crew, and here we are. We're in show 39. As soon as your producer can get the video pulled up, we'll be to rock and roll. And one more click, and I think we got it. So apparently I wasn't ready. All that hours and hours of preparation for this show, and I got nothing. But I do have Sherman Unicorns shirt on. The chiropractic college from Spartanburg, South Carolina. I bet you have one of those.
I don't have any of them, but the company that Locks and I used to work for, and Locks currently works for, made a lot of money off Sherman College. So they gave me money, whereas people are paying them to go to school.
And like $6.99 for a shirt that I don't even think they're called the Unicorns in real life. I think this is a knockoff all the way from Beijing or somewhere like that over there.
Wherever.
So what's happening up in West Orange?
You'll be happy to know that I'm not going to show you, but I'm actually recording this show tonight in shorts. The weather's kind of turned a little bit here. I know we're known for talking about weather to open up the show, right?
Weatherman.
We had a couple 60-degree days. We got a couple 68, 70-degree days coming in the next 2 days. It'll be cold next week, but we're not talking about that. We're enjoying getting the snow finally off the ground. So everything's good my way. Just excited to come back tonight. We had a couple results this weekend, Clemson-centric results that we're not exactly, and today, that we're not exactly excited about, but I think it gave us some fodder for a show.
All right. We always, every week I say this, I start out wondering, what are we going to talk about? It seems like a slow week and nothing much is going on. Then I started doing the agenda. By the way, have you checked the agenda out yet?
I just got it.
Okay. I check it out and I start writing, we got all kinds of stuff to talk about. Some of it good, some of it not so good, but always fun and always entertaining, I think, anyway. And both of our fans think it's entertaining too. So
that's why we do it, right? We do it for us.
That's why we do it for both of our fans. All right, let's start out with talking a little college football. And not much to talk about really in college football except Les Miles, and actually not much, but a lot in the same vein. Not only is Les Miles out from Kansas, the athletic director, Jeff Long, got the boot too. Now, if there was when he first hired Les Miles, there's a lot of questions about it. But if ever there was a bad background check, this was it, man, because not only did his coach get fired, it ended up getting him fired too.
Yeah, it's not a good look for Kansas. It's not a good look for Les Miles. You hate when these stories are come out like it. Whether or not the allegations are true, of course, his attorneys are denying everything, saying his name wasn't even brought up in some of the stuff. But the allegations, if they are true, this sounds awful to say. They're mild in nature, but they're still completely wrong. For mild in nature from some of the things that we've seen at other places. But man, oh man, you don't put yourself in that position if you're a person in that position at all. It's just bad. It's a bad look for him. It's a bad look for anybody that he put in a bad spot. Feel sorry for his accusers and for his victims, no doubt about it. But it doesn't look good. But where does Kansas go from here?
How could you think in 2000? I guess they hired him in 19. But how would you think you'd get away with this? You know what I mean? I just don't get it. Apparently they did a great job in Baton Rouge of covering this up. But I just can't believe somebody thought they were going to get away away with this kind of thing in this time and environment. You asked who they're going to go to. I saw a list of names. Willie Fritz, who seems to be up for every job. Lance Leipold, whose name's Buffalo's Lance Leipold, who's getting around a lot and is really a good coach. Nevada's Jay Norvell, and Louisiana Tech's Skip Holtz. That's just listed as potential candidates. My question, I guess, is why would anybody go to Kansas? They're horrible long term. They have scholarship issues, and now on top of that, they've got who knows who's going to be the athletic director. I just, talking about a job that you probably don't want to take, this seems to be it.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of these names, you're looking at a Willie Fritz, maybe. I don't know. It's a Power 5 job that's a stepping stone job, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Normally, these guys are going from the Group of 5 conferences like Tulane, Buffalo, Nevada, Louisiana Tech. They're Group of 5 conference teams, coaches, and that's a Power 5 conference in the Big 12. But is it really? I mean, how many wins have they had in the last 10 years? It's not much, but I will tell you in 2007, when they had Mark Mangino and Chase Daniel. Yep. No, he was at Missouri. They had a quarterback there. I forget who it was. But they had a very good quarterback there. But
Todd Reese.
Thank you.
Lake Travis High School, by the way. He was their first Lake Travis quarterback.
Another one. I went to USF, University of South Tampa, played Kansas on a Friday night, and Kansas was ranked number 2 in the country. I think USF was a top 10 team too. Talk about a reversal of fortune for both of those programs. But getting back to the coaching ranks, I don't mean to get off the rails here. I don't know who goes there. It's a complete reclamation project. Obviously, you got to get an AD first, you would think.
Yeah, you would think.
Those names are great. I think those are shooting the moon names, to be honest with you, especially the first 3. You got Fritz, Leopold, or Norvell. I mean, Skip will take a job. I think he wants to move to every state in the country and coach. I think that's his goal. But I think they're all steps up for Willie Fritz, Leopold, and Jay Norvell, but I'm not sure how high.
Yeah. It seems like, you think South Carolina has been labeled kind of like a dead end job or take the money job or whatever, get paid and get fired. It seems like this is one of those jobs. On the other hand, you win 4 games and you're probably going on to bigger and better things somewhere else. You're probably considered coach of the year for 4 or 5 wins. So
that's got to be one of the very few Power 5 conference teams that is a stepping stone job, right? I mean, you could probably name them in your hand, probably. Like Rutgers is probably one. Kansas is probably one. Where else I guess Vandy was for Franklin at Penn State.
Boston College? Is that a stepping stone job? Maybe. To the NFL.
Hafley, yeah. I think Hafley will stay there if he's successful. I mean, it's a big city, big market. I don't know. Look at all these people checking in.
I know Kansas. Who knew Kansas Jayhawks were going to be such a hot topic?
I do want to give a quick shout to Anthony Scarillo. He was a guy I went to high school with. He was a famous shortstop at my high school. And so I guess he went to, I don't know. He's a Notre Dame, one of those Notre Dame fans that I don't think went to Notre Dame. Good guy, but we will talk about that. And then Palk showed up too. I saw passing, and of course our number 1 fan, John Chansey.
Welcome in. I want to tell Palk welcome in, and we will be talking baseball in a little while, and Notre Dame will feature in that conversation. So all you Notre Dame fans, hang on.
John Chansey saying he wants Jamie Chadwell. That's probably a good hire for them. I don't know if you're Jamie Chadwell. Do you go there though?
Why would you want to leave Myrtle Beach? I mean, Myrtle Beach is not the be all and end all, but it's got to be better than Manhattan. No,
he's a hero there.
Yeah,
he is like he's on every show now. We could probably get him on our show.
I've always had this argument. You remember when Billy coached basketball at Texas A&M? I can't remember his name.
Oh, Gillespie.
Billy Gillespie was at Texas A&M, decided to go to Kentucky. I told my Texas friends, who of course were blinded and thinks A&M is, devil worshiping fools or whatever. I said, why would you do that? They're going to build statues of that guy in College Station. He had him in the top 5 or 6 or so, and he didn't. Well, you want to win at the top level. He went to Kentucky, became a drunkard, and ended up out of college basketball within like 5 years. I just don't get it.
If I remember correctly, he was a single guy too. So like he had, he's just banking money. But yeah, so hello to Smitty too. It is a stepping stone AD job as well. So thanks for checking in with us.
Man, we've got arguments going on in the comments tonight. We thought this was going to be a slow show.
Palk is argumentative. He's argumentative.
Well, I've seen that on Twitter. We've never had more comments about a football team. I got a feeling we're going to get some about Notre Dame in a little while. But we've never had more comments about a football team than Kansas. It's kind of crazy tonight in the comments section.
It just goes to show you that people are hungry for college football. And this is the only real college football news going on other than spring practices.
Well, there is some other college football news. FCS is playing. Have you watched 2 seconds now? Yeah, I know. I listened to the Chop and Beef last week, and I know the answer to this, but our fans want to know the answer. Have you watched 2 minutes of FCS football?
No.
FCS.
And it's embarrassing because I talked such a big game before in the fall, actually in the late summer, when we were so excited that we were going to get spring football. But I'll be honest, Clemson basketball kind of had my attention through the winter and even through today, and still will. So I haven't paid much attention to, and I'm a hockey fan too, so I have New York Ranger hockey that I watch, and they're not good either. So I haven't watched it, and I'm apologizing to everybody out there because I really do want to now. And I told Houston Burnett from the Morgan Thomas show that I wanted to watch it too, and I lied to him, so I apologize to him too.
Hey, John, you hang on. We will be talking about basketball, but there will be a big but in the basketball comments. I'm just curious because I watched the first game. It was Tarleton State and somebody. There you go. 2 Texas teams. That's why I watched it. I think they were both from Texas, and one beat the other. How about that? But I have not watched a second since then. Not North Dakota or South Dakota. And I know we're part of the College Sports Network, and we should be kind of paying attention to it. But, man, I got Clemson baseball. Okay, I had Clemson baseball. Clemson basketball. Okay, we had Clemson basketball. And we'll have some more probably next week. But it's just a lot going on, and too much really to be interested in FCS. I can't even say it, football at this time of year.
There is, and I don't know if I'm not following the right people on Twitter, because when I troll Twitter, I can't even get like updates on games. And like I said, I would like to watch a James Madison game, or even a South Carolina, the teams in South Carolina, whether it's the Citadel or Furman, because they are decent programs and decent teams. So I would like to watch them. I just forget about it, and I'm going to do better. I don't know how, but I'm going to do better.
All right. Anyone out there listening, looks like all 9 of you now, are you watching FCS football? We'd like to know. Just curious. And I haven't watched very much of it. I know Morgan, when Houston was on with us a couple of weeks ago, he said he'd watched a little bit of Furman, I think, in the Citadel, etc. I haven't watched anything except for that first game. All right, Case, let's talk a little football. This is what the folks came to watch and hear, except for maybe Palk and your other Notre Dame friend there. Some spring practice from Clemson, and our friend J.P. Priester put out a thing about a story about the center position, and whether Ryan Linthicum would be able to start at that position as a true freshman. And my comment back to JP was, Dabo's, if you read between Dabo's lines, you can never tell. There's 2 things he does. One, he either overhypes somebody in the spring that we never see in the fall, or he downplays somebody in the spring without really bad-mouthing him. He lets you know, it's like that thing on TikTok where it says, tell me you have problems on the offensive line without really telling me you have problems on the offensive line. And he says something like, yeah, he's doing really well for a freshman, or I'm trying to think of the other phrases Dabo uses, but you can read it and he's probably not going to be the starter come the fall.
Yeah. I don't know what he's doing. I didn't read that article, but like I said, I wanted to comment about the cornerback, so I was trying to scramble to cram before the test here tonight. I know Ryan Linthicum is a highly rated, if not the highest rated, center in the country. So I think he's going to bring some talent with him to Clemson, but he's still a freshman, and the system, unless you're truly playing in a similar system in high school, I mean, there's still so much nuance. Here we go. John Chancey saying Linthicum will start. There's still so much nuance to our offense, and you are the quarterback of the offensive line as a freshman. We'll see. I'm excited to watch the spring game and to see what he does and to see what the center position looks like, because that is going to be a hole that needs to be filled, and filled with somebody extremely competent.
Here's something I learned from the spring game. You can't tell anything from the spring game. I remember when Jermon Hopper came and redshirted, and then he went to the next spring, and he was all over the place in the spring. I said, man, this guy is electric. He's going to do great things in the fall. I think he had like 4 catches. Now, he got in trouble after that, but he was electric at times, but he just never did anything like he did that spring game.
Didn't his first catch go for a touchdown?
Probably. But, it was probably against the Citadel, and it was 52-6 or something. So, I mean, you gotta take it. But anyway,
I'm with you on that. I am with you on that. That you can't really tell from the spring game, but you can tell how athletic somebody is from the spring game. I'm not saying it's going to translate to the fall, to the first game, but you're gonna see him. You're gonna get a decent sample size of what he does, how he can command the offensive line, how well the offensive line is doing, is going to say something about what the center is doing, really. So, yeah, it'll be – yeah, Morgan Thomas checks in. He says, I can't believe a freshman O-line will start. No way. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how bad the position is right now. I know there was a loss last year, but, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun battle.
Morgan, there's a guy out there that played right tackle a few years ago, or what's it, right tackle or left tackle?
Mitch Hyatt.
Yeah. He was a true freshman. I only remember that because I think I told you. I was interviewed on a radio, I think it was ESPN Upstate one day. They were dragging the bottom of the barrel, and I was all they had. As you've been down that road too, right? So I was all they had, and then they wouldn't tell me what they're going to ask me, and they asked me about Mitch Hyatt. And, truthfully at that point, they didn't have any chance, any options, I don't think, because the other option, and I forget the name, I can't believe it, had decided to go to the NFL draft, the supplemental draft, after probably a test.
It wasn't Barry Richardson.
No. Isaiah Battle.
I will hear no dissenters. Nice.
So anyway, freshmen have started on the line for Clemson, and they've done very well. Now, not at center that I remember, so maybe Morgan has a point there.
Yeah.
We shall see. But, what I hope out of the spring game, what I want to get out of the spring game is no injuries, right? No major injuries. Not a Chad Kelly fan, obviously, but I hated to see that guy get hurt. And it was with the depth at the quarterback position that Clemson's facing right now, or the lack thereof, man, DJ, he shouldn't be in a red uniform. He should be in, like, I don't know, a case, something.
Well, yeah, they did say the other day Tyson Pumachan had something going on, class, something he had to be in the quarterback room was DJ Uiagalelei, Hunter Helms, and Spires. That was the quarterback room. So if that doesn't scare Clemson fans, I'm not sure what will.
I wrote about that on the college sports blog. It gets poo-pooed a lot. But you have to realize one of the top programs in the nation, top perennial, top 5 now, is a turned ankle. It doesn't have to be a major injury, right? A turned ankle away from a walk-on being their quarterback. May not matter in a couple of the games of the season, but, hey, 2000 Syracuse is going to stay right here for probably the rest of my life, because all it takes is one single injury, and we're looking at Hunter Helms at quarterback. And I'm glad he's 7 for 10 in the scrimmage, or whatever JP wrote in that article. That's great. But, that's not against Boston College or another decent team.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what we have. And, a couple freshmen coming in too. Maybe will provide some depth. They're not the 5-star guys that we necessarily want to see in Clemson, but what is football? Yeah, we don't know right now. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see. Hey, if we didn't have it, we wouldn't be able to talk about it, right? If we didn't
wouldn't be having this show for sure.
No, we definitely would not.
All right.
So it'll be fun.
Yep.
That's all I could say. That's my line
all right.
tonight.
It'll be fun. All right, let's go on talk about a little bit about recruiting. My boy, Cade Klubnik, is recruiting for the Tigers. If you noticed, he's one of the few players I follow on Twitter because I don't want to be a stalker, but just because he's from this area and we don't get that opportunity. And I follow him. His team's on TV every Friday night. You're crushing somebody 70-10 or something, or more likely it's 70-6 or 0. But he's recruiting, and there's a guy in Texas from Spearman, Texas, that the Tigers are interested in, and his name is Brennan Thompson. He's a 4-star athlete. He's number 9 in Texas, number 42 overall in the Rivals rankings. I guess they're pitching this guy in the slot. I checked out his recruiting profile today. It's a lot of Oklahoma all over there, which makes sense because he's from the Panhandle of Texas area, very close to the Oklahoma border. And Oklahoma, as you mentioned to me, they do really well with those types of receivers. I think he's like 5'10", 165 pounds. So, but Klubnik is actively recruiting this guy on Twitter. And I say actively, like, when are you going to pull the trigger, bro? That kind of thing. So maybe some good news there. I don't know. But we could use another 4-star.
That would be a tremendous get. And just keep that pipeline from, excuse me, keep that pipeline from Texas alive and well. That would his recruiting video, his recruiting tape looks really pretty good, really shifty. Exactly how Clemson used Amari Rodgers. That's how I envision it. Now I'm no recruiting expert. Don't quote me on that. But the way I'm looking at his film, a very explosive, tough, big lower half, fast for a smaller in stature guy, and just looks tough as nails. Of course, they're not going to show you any negative plays in his recruiting video, right? But he looks good. And with I've seen the same thing that Klubnik is actively recruiting him. So it kind of gives you a little bit of hope. I don't know if it's false hope, but it is a little bit of hope that these guys do talk and maybe see each other on the 7-on-7 trail. And there's obviously an offer there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What I was reading today is that he is waiting to push his recruiting forward when he can take visits, and who knows when that'll be. He might be a freshman somewhere before he can take a visit.
Yeah. But if Clemson can get him on campus, I think game over. And that's an obvious bias, but there's a lot to be said. And a lot of these guys, once they see the campus and once they see what the heck's the name? Where Jeff, anyway, they see the whole experience. They take in the whole Clemson experience, from the coaches to the being taken care of, to that facility, the Reeves Center, to everything that Clemson encompasses, the barbecue in July. If they can get him on campus for a visit, any one of these highly rated guys that they're involved with, it's a game changer. And a lot of these guys pull the trigger after something like that.
So Morgan has a great question here. Do you guys think playing 150 players is really worth it when in the playoffs they need their starters to be better? But my question back to Morgan before Casey jumps in is, how much better are you going to be when you're in the third quarter against the Citadel when it's 72-8 or whatever it is? I mean, does that really make you better? Does that do anything for you besides maybe get you hurt? I'll tell you one thing, Morgan. If Travis Etienne's running around the left end when it's 64-3 and he pulls a hamstring and can't play the next week, you're going to be questioning why he's still in the game. All right, Case, go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I like that question a lot, actually. And I kind of equate it to spring training baseball. And in that, no, you don't necessarily need to see 150 players, but you also want to see what you have. And you want to see them in game action. Now, I know they get them every day, and they have scrimmages, and they have scrimmages off, not in front of cameras and fans or anything like that. But you want to see them in front of fans. You want to get a glimpse of these guys, and you're obviously recruiting these guys. You're obviously getting the walk-ons to try out and to play. I truly believe it's a good thing for those guys. great point that Marty said, or that you said, that it is an opportunity to
get injured.
It's definitely an opportunity to get injured, no question about it, especially because they are hitting each other, and it's the last practice, so a lot of these guys are going all out. Some of the lesser guys that are trying to make a name for themselves are definitely going a little even more, so that just amps up the injury problem even more. So I think there's an argument for both, although I do like it personally, just so that you see these younger guys. Maybe guys that you never heard of, didn't think about. I was reading a thing on the cornerbacks today. They mentioned 4 cornerbacks for Clemson. That's it. That's all they mentioned. So the depth isn't there. And one's getting shoulder surgery, Malcolm Green. So, that scares the bejesus out of me. I want to see what's behind. I want to see Wiggins. Is Wiggins going to be able to step in as a true freshman in 2021 and play cornerback at a high level? So that's the stuff that I want to see as a fan, but that's also very selfish of me, I guess.
I think Morgan Thomas is behind the next cornerback up. I don't think there's many more. And Morgan says it's time for us to go on the Morgan Thomas show. You're right, Morgan. I do not talk to Casey enough during the week. I think my wife thinks we're having an affair. We don't talk enough, Casey. We're going to go on another show and talk. We'd be happy to anytime, Morgan. We appreciate it.
I'll talk. I'll talk to anybody, anywhere, anyhow. And I'm a big fan of their show. So I do like their show, and they're 3 guys. So anytime you need me, let me know. I'll fill airtime. You know that.
We'll have your people talk to our people, and by our people, I mean me and Casey. That's our people. We're our own people. All right. Tina Williams, current players.
That's Palk.
Oh, okay. Best recruiters. Blake Fisher with Notre Dame pulled a few guys in the 21 class. I certainly agree with that. Clemson players have recruited a lot of guys. We like to think, though, that Clemson itself is a selling point. As Casey said, we're obviously biased because we were both sold when we jumped on campus. Hey, Morgan has another question for you.
Sure. However many they have. We'll take his daughter. I don't care.
As long as Brent stays, we'll take them all.
Bring them all. In fact, he needs to procreate more.
Have a couple more kids so he'd be here when he's 80.
I mean, I just want the tenacity, maybe not as skilled as some of these other guys, but they're going to add some depth, that they're going to play hard because they got to answer to that guy when they get home. I know they're on campus, but when they have to have dinner, I'm sure Mama makes the boys come home on Sunday nights to have dinner, and they got to answer to him. So,
hey, we joke around. We joke around a lot. Obviously, we like to have fun on this show, but listen, this is my point. I would argue against what John is kind of hinting at here. You're going to get an 85th guy anyway, right? Listen, how many 85th guys are going to get you Kirk Herbstreit talking about his sons going to Clemson and their great experience, John Chancey? If it's Marty Coleman's son, ESPN ain't talking about it. I will take a Herbstreit as the 85th guy. Do I want him instead of a receiver who can play, a 4-star receiver? Maybe not. But the publicity we get from Herbstreit's there, worth every penny.
And think about this last year at the Boston College game when Joe Tessitore's kid was the holder on the kicking team, and he faked it, and how Joe Tessitore was on the call, how gushing he was, and Clemson fans were so angry about that. Like, oh, keep it professional. No, that's a dad and son. That's okay, So it is free recruiting when you have somebody like Tessitore, more probably Kirk Herbstreit, talking about how great his kids are enjoying their time at Clemson, how great they love Dabo and the whole Clemson experience. I mean, it's literally free recruiting.
I interviewed, and even if it's not somebody's son, I interviewed David Estes a few years ago, the long snapper. This kid went to a private school. They didn't have enough players for a team his freshman year of high school. He ended up being a long snapper in a national championship game. And his story didn't turn into a national thing or whatever, but that's still a great story. That's a Tom Rinaldi story. Coming from a school that didn't even have a football team to long snapping in the national championship game, it's a great story. And I would also argue that's what makes Clemson Clemson and not Alabama. Now, sometimes that's good. Sometimes it's not so good, but you live with what you're dealt with. And okay, that's your boy Pauk. Depth is a difference maker. Got to know if you have it. Good point, Pal. Sorry that took me so long to get to that. But our favorite commenter here is 5'10", 185, and he's ready.
Yeah, but veteran, you're tougher than your stature, my friend. There's no doubt about it.
Morgan is live in the comments, and I think he might be in the juice a little bit. Next recruit we want to talk about is Jalon Walker. He's who's announcing on the 28th of March. He's a 4-star out of Salisbury, North Carolina, number 73 nationally, trending toward the Clemson Tigers on this one. Now, we talked preseason. One of my first rants was Mac Brown and his fence. And I've seen this week 2 national guys. Let me put that in the right place. 2 national guys but talk about how Mac gets a lot of guys in North Carolina. It's improved, but he's not getting the top guys who are going to Clemson. One guy said that back last June. You're looking at him. Unfortunately, you're looking at him. So hopefully this is another 4-star coming to Clemson soon.
Yeah, outside linebacker, Jalon Walker from Salisbury, North Carolina. I really like his tape as well. And like you said, once they go crystal ball on 24/7, I kind of start watching them a little bit. And like I said, I'm no expert, but I like his feet. I like his drive and his eyes. Linebackers, you got to have linebackers with good eyes. It seems at the high school level, and he played at a decent high school with some competition. I like Jalon Walker a lot. It'd be a nice get to have another big, tough linebacker. It looks like a Venables style linebacker.
Did you say a Venables kid's coming to Clemson?
We can only wish.
Hey, John Chansey, tell us what you know about Jalon Walker. We're not the 2 biggest recruitniks ever.
Admittedly so. Yeah.
But we know when it's got 4 stars or 5 next to his name, and generally that's a good thing.
I'm not going to dig too deep necessarily, but once they kind of trend our way, that's when I start looking at them.
Exactly. And also John's talking about Arch Manning. I think talked about that a few weeks ago about when I was worrying that we weren't going to get a 2022 quarterback. I don't know what Klubnik's going to turn out to be. My issue, it still is depth. You know, we may have to go through this year. I say Clemson may have to go through this year with not a lot of depth at quarterback. I'll feel much better if we have a 4-star, the 46th player or whatever he is in the nation as our backup quarterback, just like I did this year, than if we have a walk-on in that position. That's really all.
I think you, me, and JP talked about it last week. I don't know if he needs to be much. He doesn't have to be Deshaun. He doesn't have to be Trevor. He doesn't have to be DJ, because those are all-world, century-type talent that Clemson has been unbelievably fortunate to have. If he can just be a half step below these guys, and that's not a knock. If he's a half step below those 3 guys, Clemson's in really good shape. No doubt. I don't know if he will be, because he's going to grow. He's going to get better. He's going to get coached up. He's going to get coached up this year at his high school, and then he's going to get coached up when he gets on campus early. And
as we talked about, the team around him is going to be much better than when Deshaun showed up, right?
Sure.
Just
we think
a whole bunch more talented team.
Not according to Zach Lentz's article about the cornerbacks.
Oh, Mac Jones, Clemson talents compared to Alabama. Mac Jones is not special. And I forgot to send myself the tweet I copied that said Mac Jones, June Jones, former head coach of Atlanta Falcons, said Mac Jones is the best quarterback in the draft. I'll save that for next week, but that was his take.
I'll rant on that for hours if you give me time.
It's not Zach Wilson. It's nobody else. It's Mac Jones, the guy who looks like he's 90 and stands back there like a statue. He's going to get crushed in the NFL. That's my prediction.
But the point that I'm taking from Palk's comment there is that he's right. And I mentioned it early in the season. Mac Jones is a better Jake Coker. Who remembers Jake Coker? Not many people, but he won the 2015-2016 national championship for Alabama. He didn't have to be Tua. He didn't have to be Jalen Hurts. He didn't have to be this all-world quarterback. He was a game manager, kind of like Mac was, except Mac had these frisbee catching dogs. So did Jay Coker. He had who was the tight end that I'm still having nightmares about. He's playing for the Buccaneers. But
OJ
Howard. So like Exactly. His point is exactly well received there by me, because he doesn't have to be the all-world guy that Clemson's used to.
Not when you have Devontae Smith open by 6 yards every play. All right, last little bit of recruiting news here. 4-star Emmanuel Henderson is trending towards Alabama. He's number 61, number 61 overall in the nation. It looks like it's Alabama, even though he still has Clemson in the final 4 or 5 or whatever. But it looks like Clemson's going to lose out on that one. The only other running back, my understanding, and somebody in the comments, please correct me if I'm wrong. Again, we're not the 2 biggest recruitniks in the world. The only offer left out there is to somebody, a combination. The love child of 2 of our favorite players is Trevor Etienne. He was number 49 in the nation, by the way. And here's what I found interesting. There's another dollar for the vets. Intriguing. Trevor is number 49 in the nation. Travis was only number 16 in Louisiana. And was not nationally ranked by rivals. He was 213 by 247 Sports. And on 247, he was ahead of Clyde Elaire Edwards, which is, something to say. But think about those 2 running backs. We're in the same class in Louisiana. Just crazy. But Clemson's got 1 running back offer out. Maybe another one's coming once Emmanuel Henderson commits, likely to Alabama.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see what Travis Etienne does. I want to call him or Trevor, excuse me, Trevor Etienne does. Because do you want to be in your brother's shadow at Clemson, where
Really?
he is the all ACC, the leading rusher all time? Eventually, will probably be in the Ring of Honor. Do you want to be that? Do you want to have those expectations, or LSU's on them already? They're not going to miss on another ETN from in-state, from Jennings, Louisiana. They're just not. And there's going to be he's a top 50 talent.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of SEC schools. Lane Kiffin's going to be at his door constantly trying to get them a running back there at Ole Miss. So having the only running back offer may speak volumes to him, especially after Henderson commits to Alabama. He's an Alabama kid. He's probably going there. Let's be honest, especially with those track record. But I would love to have him. Another ETN would be awesome. He's a little shorter, I think, than Travis came in at, but he's tough as nails too, man.
I've heard some rumors or talk that he's getting as much love as he is because of Travis, right?
I'm sure.
Yeah. So some are questioning, his status as a top recruit. But again, I'll trust the coaches. They made an offer. They see something in him, and it's not because, he's Travis's brother.
And if memory serves me correct, he was the first junior offer, the first 2022 offer to go out, and because they normally don't do that early.
Okay.
From Clemson.
All right. Here's what everybody's here to talk about, Casey. Clemson basketball. 67-64 lost to Miami today. As you noted, I was very quiet on Twitter when everybody else was saying, another 3, they're raining down. Because I knew, and as I told you, from the YMCA league to the NBA, if everybody's firing up threes and they're going in, everybody's going to want to shoot threes. And everybody's going to think, even when you shouldn't, even when your leads dwindled away, you're going to start firing up threes. Clemson still had a good day from 3. If you look at the box score, but they didn't have it in the second half. And ultimately, I don't know whether that's why they lost the game or not, but it always worries me. And I literally mean it from the YMCA when I see my son play, and one of those kids makes a 3, you got the bench warmer kid out there going, oh, that's cool. Everybody cheers for him. Let me fire one up from the sidelines here. So it happens in the NBA too. Threes aren't necessarily a good thing in my book. But your take on Clemson's loss to Miami today?
Yeah, it's not good. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. Miami went up 9. It felt – here we go. I got to gather myself here because I could go either way. On Saturday when they played Pitt, even though the game constantly was kind of back and forth, Clemson was in the lead the whole time, but Pitt would bring it score close. It felt like the game was never in doubt. From a fan's perspective, it never felt like the game was in doubt. At the start of today, even with the shooting, and we all know law of averages, they're not gonna go 7 for 7 and continue to go 14 for 14 for 3. They're not. And Alex Hemingway missed the first 3 that they missed of the day. I think it was 6 for 6, and then he took the 7th shot. So you knew that was gonna cool off. But I thought at that point it was 17-8, and I thought this game's not going to be in doubt. And Miami brought it back to 17-15, and I still said, there's no doubt about it. Something happened. Something happened in that second half. I'm not sure what it is, but something happened. They started missing shots a little bit, but also it just felt like they could not stop Miami. And I put it out on Twitter, just a comment that I saw. Miami plays zero offense. There is zero base offense. There was one point in the game that Larinaga literally was going like this to his players and pointing where they needed to go because they don't have an offense. But they're good enough. That Wong kid is a beast. He's a beanpole, but he is a beast. He's a scorer. He's a baller. He's a gamer. The Brooks kid gave us fits today. Gave Clemson absolute fits in the paint. It could not stop him. At one point, they just let him go up. I think they told him, like, just go up. We're not going to go up and block you. It just felt disjointed defensively, and that's not something that Clemson fans are used to. Of course, the Boo Birds are out. Everyone wants Brownell's head, but the last 7 games, when they were undefeated, they were doing okay for themselves. So, it is what it is. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. The thing that's going late on Twitter is I don't know why Nick Honor gets that last shot. It's got to go to Amir Sims. There's a lot of truth to that. But you know what happens when Nick Honor goes to the paint and throws up a floater? 9 times out of 10, he makes it. Yeah. So if that shot goes down, brilliant. We love Nick Honor. Nick Honor's the best. Now we need Amir to touch the ball, which is some semblance of truth there because he is your best player. No doubt he should probably touch the ball. But Honor had a great look. I thought it was a good look. I don't know.
And who knows what the play was designed for, right? Do we know? Has Brownell said? Have they talked about it? Because
yeah, he said it was as good a shot as good a look as we could have gotten.
That was my take, right? That was my take. T.O. told us several weeks ago when he was on the play that he beat Maryland, he wasn't even the intended shooter, right? It was Booker, I believe. But Nick Honor 8 feet away from the basket, I'll take it.
That's what Brownell said. I'd take it 9 times out of 10. He beat his man off the dribble, got into a shooting spot. Big's coming towards him. He lays, he puts it up. A good look. It bounced off the left rim. Why am I blanking on names tonight? Good Lord. We had a tip chance as well, and then fouled Wong, and Wong hit 2 free throws, 2.9 seconds left. But they had an opportunity to win. Miami threw the ball away on the inbound, played up 1, and we could not get the ball to Alamir Dawes, who actually stepped out of bounds, so that probably would have been controversial. Maybe the basketball gods kind of shined their lights on Miami. It doesn't hurt Clemson. Someone's saying that they're going to be an 8-9 seed in the NCAA tournament so that if they win, then they have to play the number 1. Yeah, absolutely. But let's be honest. Getting to the tournament is really, in my opinion, this is me speaking now, not speaking for anybody else. I think getting the tournament was the goal. And I think as the team is playing well at 9-0 to start the year, at 16-6 to end the year, you start thinking, oh, Sweet 16 or bust. But hold on. I was in that group too. I was thinking Elite 8. I'm looking at 7 seed or 5 seeds going, oh, yeah, they get past the 12. Then they get the 4. Yeah, we're good. We're going to go Sweet 16. The tournament's the goal. I think we have to temper expectations. And that's going to get me roasted, but that's fine.
I'm going to roast you a little bit. I like to win a game. Not a lot. I don't have high expectations. Your expectations, I mean, look at the team you have. They're good, but they're not great, right? There's no big guy. Your big guy's 6'8.5", right? He's really good, but he's 6'8.5". You don't have a front line of 7-footers or 6'10" guys like Gonzaga or whatever. You're limited in what you can do and where you can go, and every win is and I mean, I'm not saying that's okay or I'm settling for that because I'm the one that was on here 2 weeks ago ranting about Brownell's recruiting, right? But it is what you have. And if you're expecting greatness out of this team, you're just wanting to complain. And by greatness, I mean Final Four-ish type stuff. You're setting yourself up for failure. You're waiting for an argument about Brownell. And it's true that I don't follow a lot of those people who are complaining on Twitter today about Brownell, but I saw more of their comments today than like you said, the last 7 games. So I don't follow them. Hey, back to football for a minute, because Houck has a question about Will Shipley. I'm high on Will Shipley. Travis Etienne set the bar where I don't know anybody that'll reach it. Of course, we said the same thing about Speller. So I don't know anybody's going to reach that bar. I'm high on Shipley because I think he can be used in multiple ways. And I mean, that's really – but I'm also a guy who says I want to see it on the field. This isn't high school anymore. You're not playing, 5'6", 285-pound nose guards. You're not covered by guys who are going to be accountants in life for the most part. So I want to see it on the field before I start believing.
Yeah, I want to see it on the field as well with him. I know he's highly touted, and Clemson's definitely happy that he chose Clemson over Notre Dame, no question about it. But same idea. And Dabo is very open and honest, and Coach Elliott as well. Tony Elliott is also open and honest, saying you need to be able to run block or pass block before you see the field. So are there going to be packages for him? Absolutely. Is the kid capable of pass and run blocking? No doubt about it. Will he be ready to play? I have no question about it. I think Lynn J. Dixon, in my opinion, is the starting running back to start the season. No, in my opinion, I was going to say no question about it. I got a lot of distractors tonight. But Clemson's, I think, in good hands with Shipley. Whether we see a lot of them this year, I'm not sure. But going forward, he's going to be just fine.
All right. Next time we get together, we'll be talking about the NCAA basketball tournament. I don't have a lot to say about that. We'll see where Clemson is and who they play, and you'll go through all the seeds and somehow put them in the Final Four. And meanwhile, I'm going to write an entry for the college sports blog, College with a K, that we're part of that network. It's a lot of fun. Before I started doing this, I thought it's going to be Gonzaga or Baylor. Started looking at some historical data, Casey, numbers. It ain't going to be Gonzaga or Baylor. I won't tell you who it will be here because I want you to tune into the College Sports blog. Tune in to something written. Okay. You know what I mean? I want you to read.
We'll discuss it.
It'll be like a 1.5 minute read. And I'll talk about it on next week's show. But spoiler alert, it's not Gonzaga or Baylor who's going to come away with the national championship, and I'll explain why.
All right. I like it. Yeah, I'm excited. Sunday is one of my favorite days of the year. I'm still that old school guy who will handwrite, not very well, but like probably on the back of one of these sheets of paper, I will draw out a bracket and I will handwrite all of the selections. I know they're available 4 seconds after they're announced. I know. Stop yelling at me, Mom. But I will handwrite it, and I look forward to it every Sunday. March Madness selection show, 6:30 p.m.
We'll talk about it next week on this show, Clemson and perhaps some other teams. All right, here's what Pauk has really been waiting for. We're going to talk some Clemson baseball now. They lost the series to Notre Dame. Notre Dame played well, Pauk, just like I said on Twitter. They did all the little things right. They bunted, they stole bases, they took extra bases, they pitched really well in crucial situations, all the things that Clemson didn't do. And they had a bunch of guys from New Jersey on their team, which I know Casey and Pauk enjoy a whole bunch. Just good, hard-nosed players. They reminded me of, Casey, a lot of Boston College in Notre Dame, right? Clemson had theoretically the better players or higher ranked players for the most part, but Notre Dame outplayed them. Okay, you can accept that. That's an ACC team. And, sometimes you get beat, right? Baseball is a funny game. A good pitcher, one big bat, it happens. What I can't accept is 12-2 to USC Upstate on Tuesday. And I started writing an entry for the College Sports blog on that. And as I told Casey, it was too depressing. And I thought I was overreacting. This was before the USC Upstate game. I thought, I'm just overreacting. I'm not, and then the statement came out from Monty Lee, basically saying, I'm failing these guys, and I don't know what to do. 10 games into a 50-game season, I'm concerned. Your thoughts on Clemson baseball?
Yeah, I'm concerned too. However, I don't know if it's pitching. I think, as JP told us, and as we're seeing, the pitching's there. Maybe outside of Caden Grice last night. Maybe he's just not ready to pitch at this level yet. But he is as good as advertised at the plate. I think it's a lot of young guys. If you look at the lineups each and every game, there's at least 5 freshmen on this team that are playing. I didn't understand last night. Now, I know they're big analytics guys and give a guy a day off, but they played 3 games on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Their day off is Monday. Give them a day off, have them hit in the cage. But why do you need Tuesday off when you already have Wednesday and Thursday off as well? I just don't understand why guys like Dylan Brewer weren't in the lineup, why guys like Briar Hawkins weren't in the lineup last night. I know you're deep and you want to give some of these guys more playing time, but the lineup he trotted out there last night, I know he's trying to find it, right? He said that in his statement too. He's trying to find that right combination of players. I'm not sure he knows what he has yet, and that's funny to say for a coach, but you can't. Back in the day with Jack Leggett, you could pencil in the lineup. You knew who was going to be where every day. You just knew who was, like Friday, you were getting Koch, Benson, Vining. Boom, you're done. I mean, that's who you knew you were trotting out there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Here, you don't know who he's trotting out. Davis Sharp's been really pretty good. Olenchuk, he's been really actually pretty good. Even on Saturday, he started out a little rough, still really good. So you're not necessarily worried about Friday, Saturday, and you're not terribly worried about the bullpen either. I wouldn't be. But it is depressing that they don't do the little things that baseball teams do. And maybe I'm old school. Maybe at 43 years old, I'm the old school guy. And I'm not even talking about the bunting. I'm talking about second and third, 1 out, or second and third, nobody out. You need to place the bat on the ball. That's your only job. I don't hit. They call a P on it. Hit it foul. Hit it foul 3 times before, and then you're going to get the pitcher. You're going to get a fastball. I played enough baseball in my life. You're going to get a fastball. Hit it the other way, or if you're a lefty hitter, go to the right side. Just nub it in front of the plate. They're going to take the out and let you score a run. There's been way too many times in 10 games that they've had second and third, less than 2 outs, and they strand the guys from striking out, either looking or swinging at really bad pitches. And that's frustrating. And that's not even the base running. So it's just frustrating, simple stuff. I almost cursed on the air. That just really fires me up, that I can't get over, that they can fix it too. It's easy to fix.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the second and third with less than 2 outs, because that's how I started off the article that is it's still on my computer, but I never submitted because it said I used to get giddy for Clemson baseball when there's second and third, nobody out, because I knew they were going to score multiple runs. But now it's not a happy thing, because what's coming next? A strikeout and a pop-up, or a pop-up and a strikeout, whichever way you want it. They don't even get the ball at the infield. And JP contacted me after the game last night and wanted some stats, which is really interesting. Dang, that's another one. $16 for the bets. 2 outs, batting 200. Runners on, 267. Runners in scoring position, 223. So those
That's
are some sad stats right there.
The way this pitching staff is pitching now, they gave up 3 runs and 3 runs to Notre Dame and Saturday, Sunday, right? Well, I think it was 3 and 3.
Yeah, 3-1 and 3-2. Yeah.
College baseball, 3 runs is basically a shutout. If you give up 3 runs, your pitching staff is phenomenal. College kids with that aluminum bat. Now I know they deaden them a little bit, but you wouldn't tell by Grice's bat. But with aluminum bat, you need to score at least 1 run. That 1 run, second and third, no less than 2 outs. That 1 run now cuts it to 3-2, ties it at 3-3. So it's big. It's such little stuff, and it sounds so easy for me to say, a guy that's sitting on the couch, drinking a beer, watching the game, to say get a bat on the ball. but it's really not that difficult for college kids. I played at the high school level. It's not that difficult for college kids to at least just put the ball in play. I know they're seeing sliders and lay off that crap. You're going to get a fastball at some point, or you're going to get a hanger.
We talked about it earlier in the season, and I think we were just I think it was text. They were bragging about Monty Lee's record in one-run games, and my point was shouldn't be playing so many one-run games, and eventually it's going to turn, and it's turned, right? South Carolina, 2 one-run losses, and, of course, the Notre Dame game was a one-run loss. So,
and hats off to Notre Dame, and that's not because of Powell. But you're exactly right what you said. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hijack you.
Worries.
But you're exactly right what you said, and they're coached well to do the little things right. They pitched well, probably outside of Friday night, and they just ran into a juggernaut. They made all the defensive plays you could possibly make. They were making jumping stabs at short. They played a little ball. They played small ball where they were bunting guys over. They were stealing bases. They did everything the northern teams have to do to be successful against southern teams. The cold weather teams have to do that to even be in the ball game, and they proved that they did it well enough to beat a Clemson team on Saturday and Sunday.
Well, I don't know what's going to happen because they got North Carolina coming up this weekend, then a Tuesday game next week, and then Virginia Tech, who's playing really well too. So they got 6 tough conference games coming up in the next 2 weeks. But baseball, as I started this out with, is a funny game. It could turn on anything. Who knows what? A bad hop single could turn into a 10-run rally and turns into a 9-game winning streak. So there's always hope in baseball. There's no clock. Time's not going to run out. And Clemson has the players to make something of this season. They just need to get it together. Hey, John Chansey wants us to talk about softball, and this is the part of the show where I get to shut up and listen to Casey, that's about 2/3 of the show, right?
That's what we do anyway.
I get to shut up and listen to Casey because I had baseball on the main screen, the TV, and I had softball. Once you told me you were looking at the softball game, I put softball on my phone and was checking it out too. So let's hear about Clemson softball, Mr. Beef.
Yeah, well, I one thing I didn't lie to the people about was that I am excited about softball, and I'm actually watching them because I am. They're 13-2. They're 8-2 in the conference. They ran into a tough team, Virginia Tech, a few weeks ago and lost the series 2-1. Outside of that, they've run off 10 straight victories. They did a 4-game sweep of Virginia. Not a terrible Virginia team, not top of the line, but a team that's been established. Some good pitching, some good hitting, but man, this Clemson team's exciting. And if you're not watching them, I highly suggest. It's a quick game. They play 2 in the span of about 3 innings of baseball. They'll play. It seems, man, these games fly by.
Sunday's baseball for sure. As I tweeted, Notre Dame's going to miss their flight and won't schedule till Tuesday. Sorry, back to softball.
But Valerie Cagle is. I hope that there's a professional league worth its weight in salt because Valerie Cagle will make it at the next level. Not only is she a fantastic pitcher for Clemson, she started 11 games for the Tigers already. She's been in 11 games. She's been in 15 games. She started 11 of them already. She's 8-1. She did lose to Virginia Tech. She's got a 1.38 ERA, but hold on, there's more. She is also hitting 273 at the plate, and she's got a couple home runs as well. I think she's got 4 home runs as well at the plate. She has articles and tweets written about her on the weekly basis. She is fantastic. She's a lot of fun to watch.
And there's more.
And there's way more.
She played left field and threw a runner out the plate. I saw it. I watched softball.
She is just a true player. And Clemson fans, she's considered a redshirt freshman. So we're going to get her for quite a few more years as well. Another player that I really love to watch, as well as the leadoff hitter, Mackenzie Clark. She was a highly rated 90th overall recruit and chose to come to play for John Rittman and the Clemson Tigers. She plays center field. She runs the bases. She hits the ball. She's got a home run as well. This team offensively is as exciting a softball team as you could watch. They were down a couple times to Virginia this weekend, and there was no doubt that they were going to score runs and come back and win. And outside of Cagle, they have some arms in the circle, as they say. I'm getting the lingo down as well. They have some other arms in the circle that are good. Millie Thompson played on Saturday, I believe, and one of the games started and was super through 5 innings. She was actually super through 6, but they pulled her out for Cagle to close it out once they took the lead. And the good news for Clemson fans and Clemson softball is it's not good news. They were missing their 2 best hitters, Marissa Jambarda and Cami Pereira this past weekend. They were missing them due to injury this past weekend and still ran off a 4-game sweep. So it's pretty fun to say your team is pretty good and in pretty good hands when you're missing your top 2 hitters and still are able to win 4 games against a proven college team. So schedule's favorable coming up. This next weekend, they have a series with Furman. Following weekend, I think they play North Carolina as well. There's a Duke following after that, which is a new program like Clemson. So they're a lot of fun. Catch them on ACC Network X on the app, and you'll enjoy it. You'll find yourself enthralled in watching the game because it moves fast too, man.
Well, and I'll say this. I said it every week. We've talked about the softball team, the uniforms. I'm an old dude. I don't say this often, but they're fire. Whatever they wear looks good. There's obviously reasons for that, but they wear this combinations. It's just sharp, and maybe it's just because it's all new. I don't know, but it seems like any combo they put on looks really, really good, man. Well, and it helps if you're 13-2.
Think about it. They're setting the tradition right now. Like Clemson football had the tradition. And they're not getting off it. Well, Clemson softball is setting the tradition right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. And look at there. John Chansey says, outstanding softball analysis. That's why the people come, John. I really enjoyed watching the part that I watched, so I'll definitely be tuning in Casey will remind me if there's a conflict between baseball and softball. Casey, tonight we wonder who's going to watch, who's going to listen, what are we talking about? 36 comments tonight.
That's great.
Shout out to you.
All of them.
I don't think we've gotten 36 comments in a show since we started, even in football season, right? There's a lot more competition probably in football season for shows, but 36 comments. John Chansey, thank you so much. Your buddy Pauk, I like to think he's my buddy too now. Thank you so very much for commenting, keeping the conversation going. What about you, Case?
Yeah, John Chansey, man. I love your comments on the Seldom News Reserve page. Clemson junkies as well. So you get me laughing and thinking about Clemson, but definitely thanks to everybody for checking in. We really appreciate it. My buddy Smitty, I try to share it on my personal Facebook page so that I get some of my friends in there. And obviously we did with Anthony Scarillo tonight and Smitty involved. Thanks to Morgan Thomas for checking in. Like I said, I enjoy his show tremendously, so I'm glad I comment a lot on their show, so I'm glad he's able to comment on ours as well. So, we appreciate it very much. It's a lot of fun to look down and see comments and pertinent comments that we can talk about. Yeah,
there were some great questions tonight and great comments. And again, you said it. Thanks to Morgan for chiming in. We have one of his stars on Houston. Every now and then, Houston's just a great guy to talk to. He's a little bit down in the dumps, Clemson baseball and basketball. But anyway, he provides us great analysis, so we appreciate him being on. And again, thanks, Morgan, for checking in. Casey, why don't you close it up while I find the exit button?
Yeah, I'm getting used to saying thank you to everybody. Thanks so much to everyone in the Facebook group, everyone that commented tonight, everyone in the Facebook group, especially Nelson Wilhite, for all his help and support and editing skills. Everyone on Seldom News Reserve, Sluggo Podcast, and Chop and Beef, which is actually recording Friday this week. John McGee, each and every one of you that likes, shares, subscribes. We really appreciate it. On behalf of Marty, Seldom News Reserve Coleman, I am Casey the Beef Cregan. Thanks so much for joining us on Sluggo. We'll see you next week.
Get your Spurtles on the ACC Network.
I think we're done here.